Dealing with the grain of the wood can be a challenge when you're chip carving. In this lesson, I'll teach you some techniques to use to avoid what I call with the grain tear out. To start with, let me demonstrate what I mean when I say with the grain tear out. A three-corner chip like this has one side that runs with the grain. I've already made the first two cuts and now I'm ready to remove the chip. When I get halfway, the chip starts to lift out ahead of the cut. Completing the cut, down inside there will be a little area that is a bit ragged. Let me show you that a little bit more clearly on this larger chip. This side has part of the cut running with the grain. I've made the first two cuts already, and now for the third cut to remove the chip. When I reach this point right here, if you look closely right in this area, you'll see that the chip has started to remove ahead of the cut. When I complete the cut, you'll notice right in here it's ragged and rough. That's what I call with the grain tear out. Let me show you a few tricks to avoid these grain problems and in turn get much cleaner results with your chip carving. On both of these three-sided chips, the easiest solution is to avoid with the grain tear out is to make sure the with the grain cut is either your first or second cut, not your last cut. So on this chip, here's my with the grain cut. I'll make it first, second, and third. That way, I have a smooth cut on the with the grain side of the chip. On this larger chip, again, take your with the grain cut either first or second, followed by the other two cuts. So here's my first cut. Running with the grain is not a problem. I draw it out at the end. Now I'll take my second and third cuts to remove the chip. Crisp and clean all the way around, no with the grain tear out. On two-sided chips like this, the first cut is never a problem. On the second cut, when you get halfway, you need to transition from with the grain back to across the grain. Let me show you a trick to avoid with the grain tear out. When you get about halfway, draw the knife out of the wood a little ways, make the transition, and now go back down and get the rest of your depth. That will take it out, and there'll be a little bit of cleanup to do where you drew the knife out of the wood, and you get a nice smooth cut with a smooth transition from with the grain to across the grain. There you have it. A few simple techniques to use to avoid with the grain tear out. Put these techniques to use on your next chip carving project. Many more chip carving lessons like this, along with free patterns, are available when you become a member of My Chip Carving. Sign up today using the link found in the description below. Keep carving, and remember, introduce a kid to chip carving.